G'day guys, Calvin Cartoon in New Zealand. Going to run through very quickly a connector set I've made up for a refab on a Soarer or an SC400 loom. And this is the stuff that I use myself, and I'll just talk about it quite quickly. So we start with the front crank loom, crank angle sensor plug, and the left and right cam angle sensors, and there is one coil plug on that loom as well. And that's the main ones that I use. There is also a noise suppressor, okay, but that isn't in my basic setup. But if you ask for a noise suppressor plug and the hydraulic fan plug, so they can go in too if you really want them. They're not in the basic setup, the main setup. They then come up to two connectors by the #1 injector, and we'll talk about them soon. In the kit there is a second coil plug. We're going to need that. 8 injector plugs, and you'll see these are just bodies. Generally they don't come with the terminals. It just keeps the price down just a little bit more, and you can reuse some of these other terminals that will fit into those, so that gives you a backup. 201 igniter plugs, so that's for the 201 igniters. An idle speed control, 6-pin idle speed. We've got a EFI temp sensor plug, and I can supply the sensor as well, and a TPS plug. TPS plug doesn't come with terminals unless we add them in as an extra. Just different suppliers of bits and pieces. 2 oxygen sensor plugs. So these are the 4-pin oxygen sensor plugs for the US vehicles. JDM, I don't have the single pin plug, so this is the US versions. An airflow meter plug, so that's the early alloy body, but it's got a plastic sensor airflow meter plug. Again, no terminals in it. They take the same terminals as that idle speed control. You will be using those because it's often different, slightly different body. It's an earlier model body, so they do normally require a crimp and a change there. Going under the intake manifold, we have a starter trigger, so that's the basic square one. Real basic setup there, that one. The later model one's changed to a molded one, so that's the early one, and a pair of knock sensor plugs. So those are the main connectors that I use when I'm doing a refab. There's a few more, of course. We can do cold start, injector plug, the one that actually goes on the injector, and the cold start timer plug at the front. Sometimes I have them, just depends on my supply. You can whip the tabs off the side of the front one and use the same as the normal EFI temp sensor, so it does give options if need be. Just means you can confuse them, people can put them on wrong. I almost forgot. There's a couple of connectors on the front crank loom, or between the front crank loom and the main engine loom by #1 injector. SC400 and Soarer, and a lot of the Celsius have a 6-pin and a 4-pin combination. We got 6-pin plug, a 6-pin receptacle, 4-pin plug, oh wait, that's the plug, 4-pin plug, and a 4-pin receptacle. So I do have them as well, but they are pricey little suckers, so it adds up to the cost really quickly. Of course, there's other connectors around the harness. But if you're doing a conversion, I often change them around and cut them out, pull them apart, move them around. There's one at the back of the engine, which has the knock sensors and some other wires going through it there, and the start trigger's in there somewhere. Those ones I use universal plugs. To the cold start injector, the extra connector at the back, I normally use a DT 2-pin connector. Over going by the battery, there's connectors there. I often reroute them, they go inside the cabin, and use universals because I pull a lot of those wires out, especially if doing a manual. I've also got a purge solenoid plug if you need that, which is the same as gearbox speed sensors. Unfortunately on Soarers and SC400s with the 6-pin transmission solenoid plug, don't have that anymore, nor the shift selector plug. The stuff's getting too old for those ones. I've sold them all off. Sold the world's worth. The rear speed sensor on the back of the gearbox, I've got that. So we can do those connectors as well. But that's the main little basic kit that I've got. And they work really well. I use a lot of them. I thought I'd help other guys out by making them available. Hope that's been helpful. We're going to do some refab videos coming up on this sort of stuff. I've done a lot of other ones, but haven't done the SC or the Soarer so much. But hope that's been helpful. Talk to you again soon. Catch you later.